What's good, guys? Welcome to another episode of my YouTube channel, and today I would like to bring y'all the latest updates and latest news about my beautiful country, Colombia. The president of the United States, Donald Trump, he thinks he owns the world, and he also thinks that he owns Colombia and Venezuela and other countries around the world. The reason why I'm saying this is because the president, they trying to get into Venezuela now and also into Colombia. The president of the United States say almost a threat. Well, he threats Colombia, saying that he probably gonna attack Colombia soon because in the war with the white business. That's what he's saying. Let's speak about this, and I'm gonna give my humble opinion in all this drama. Fellas, it's not a secret that it's been a lot of drama between the US and Venezuela in the recent months. The US, since Donald Trump got into the power, a few months after that, he's saying a lot of boats close to the Caribbean coast of Venezuela because he said that they're fighting against the white business and accusing the president or the fake president of Venezuela because this guy, he honestly is still, the boats in Venezuela, and he got himself elected as a president again. So long story short, they trying to get into the country because they claim that this guy, he's basically a Pablo Escobar from Timu, and he run the same business as Pablo Escobar was doing when he was in the power. That is to say, a lot of Pablo Escobar from Timu in Colombia, not powerful like him, but there is still plenty of them. But long story short, we are not focused in talking about that. Even, we had to put this topic on the table because it's also involved in the channel, but we in the topic, but we won't focus on that. Long story short, fellas, the president of the US, Donald Trump, he really thinks that he owns the world. He really thinks that he can do whatever he wants against those countries, and nothing is going to happen because they said that they fighting against the white business. But I was reading these past days, in the past few days, that he also pardoned as president of Honduras. I think that he was involved. He was sending kilos of white business to the US. And if this president is saying that he's fighting because of that, why he gave the pardon to a guy that he was involved in the white business, like he said that Maduro is doing? I know a lot of people in Venezuela, they're doing a lot of illegal things because a lot of illegal groups from Colombia, they have emigrated to Venezuela to relocate it over there and to continue the operations over there because a lot of them, they've been getting the live in the sister country, and that appears on the news. A lot of big fish, they have moved out to Venezuela, to continue work. But I'm not sure. I can be sure, I can secure that this man, Nicolas Maduro, is involved in those type of business. What I do know is that he's been doing a lot of illegal things, but I'm not sure about that, and I'm not sure if a lot of people can secure something like that because I can prove, those type of stuff. But long story short, like the situation with Venezuela had escalated really bad that they closed the airspace in Venezuela, so no planes are going to Venezuela, and this is crazy because that's the worst thing that had ever happened to Maduro since he became a dictator, because I never said that this guy is not a dictator. He's a dictator, and a lot of people that live in Colombia and a lot of Venezuelans around the world, and some people that are involved that have read about this topic, they can say also the same thing, that Maduro is also a dictator. But let's focus on this topic, and if this become a war, how everybody can be affected, especially in Colombia. Honestly, in Colombia, we have almost 5 million of Venezuelans. And if this became a war, we have more people coming to the country. And it means that it's going to be more people, with unemployed, all of that. And many other crazy things. But also the war, is going to affect the economy of the country because, we provide a lot of things to Venezuela, and they get a lot of stuff from here, and they go to sell it in Venezuela. I know people who are Colombians that live in Venezuela, that they got a stuff from here. They go to Venezuela and they go to sell it over there. But the worst thing is, like, Donald Trump and the people from the government of America, they have made people believe that this war is gonna be against the white business, to protect the Venezuela. We're fighting for the democracy, all of that, which is ain't like that. Because the only reason why they want to invade Venezuela, what they want to, go to Venezuela, is because of the oil. That's the only reason. They don't care about Venezuelans. They don't care about this. They don't care about, how this can affect, both of the countries. They don't care about that. All they care about is the oil that Venezuela has. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it's proved already. This guy said that he's fighting against the white business, but he gave a pardon to a guy who's saying kilos of the white business to the U.S. It don't make sense, because if you fighting against this business, you don't need to have no mercy for these people who work on that business, or for these bosses, who've been sending a lot of white business to the U.S. This, honestly, to me, this don't make sense, and I know to a lot of people it don't make sense. And also, the worst things about all of this, because a lot of people in Colombia, they got scared, because he also said that he's gonna be attacking Colombia soon. That has nothing to do with Venezuela. Even we look like the same, but we ain't the same. You know what I mean? We are different people, we have different cultures, and we are different in so many things. So I don't understand why, we had to get involved in that, because our president, which is the president, who been confiscating, who been getting the most in the history of Colombia. You can go to Google, because whether if you like the president or not, this is the reality. He's been the president who has caught more kilos of white business in the history of Colombia. He's a winner on that. And, it's not something that I'm creating. This is proof, But to confiscate those type of business in Colombia ain't easy like that. A lot of these groups, illegal groups, they are in the jungle, which is super difficult to access. Colombia has the Amazon, all of that, in many jungles, which is super difficult to get in. So it ain't like just go to the store and get a bag of coffee, to delete this business and to delete these people, because ain't easy like that. Like I said, these people go to the jungles, where it's very difficult, where it's been difficult for years for the army, for decades, to go there, to access there, to delete the plans, of this white business. Ain't easy like they trying to show it is. Getting into Colombia, because thinking like, with the guilty that the business going to the U.S., it's like us going to the U.S., trying to invade the U.S. because you guys still get the business over there. It don't make sense. You know what I mean? It don't make sense, because, we both the country, we have democracy. Some countries, have more democracies than others, but at the end of the day, we are countries that, we deserve to be respected. So this guy don't have no reason to say that, I'm gonna attack Colombia, because that would be a horrible mistake. Colombia ain't like Venezuela. In Colombia, a dictator can never get in the power, because Colombians, we built different. We've been different, and we're warriors, and if we had to fight, we had to fight. If we had to lose, we're gonna lose, but we will fight. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that, we're gonna fight against the states, because no country in this world can fight against the states. Basically what I've been reading. You know what I mean? And we don't want that. I don't even like the violence. None of that. So I don't recommend. Getting into this violent stuff, because Colombia has been in a war for over 60 years for illegal groups like FARC, guerrillas, all of that. They've been fighting in the country for a while. You know what I mean? But the reason, why he's trying to punish Colombia is because our president say that he won't help them to invade Venezuela, because there is a lot of Colombians over there. I have a lot of cousins who are Venezuelans, and I've never been to Venezuela, but my family, they have been. They have been in Venezuela. My grandma, she used to live in Venezuela, and she built like 4 houses thanks to Venezuela. So Colombia has to be grateful all the time with Venezuela, because we've been helping them and they've been helping us. But I really think that they've been helping us more than we've been helping them, because when they were good, we were good here. We were up. Like Venezuela was back then like the United States, of this area. Everybody wanted to emigrate to Venezuela, and a lot of people made their money thanks to Venezuela. So the president said, I will help you to invade Venezuela, because if they're going to invade Venezuela, they need Colombia, because we are the sister country and we have a lot of borders with them. And is the right hands for them to invade Venezuela. So the president said, we won't help you on that, because it don't make sense. There is a lot of Venezuelans here. There is a lot of Colombians there. There is a lot of families between Colombians and Venezuela. So it don't make sense. So this guy get mad, and they said, punish the president, putting him on a list that he don't belong to it, because if there is a guy who been fighting against those business, is the president that we had now, whether if you like it or not. There is a lot of people who don't like the presidents, but the numbers say something else, because the new candidate that we have now, the new person, which is from the left, the same president is trying to put him on the power, and they already show, the numbers that this guy is almost winning with 50%. The person who is behind here like with less than a half, which is Abelardo de la Espriella, and the president that the people wanted, that is going to be putting the power, God willing, with the president that we have now, which is Iván Cepeda. He's getting elected with almost 50%, more than 50%. So a lot of people say, Petro is this, Petro is that. Everybody has a dirty background. I'm not saying this man is perfect. Like, I'm not saying that all the presidents were perfect, but I think he's doing something for the community, and their community like that. Their community like it, because if their community didn't like that, why he's trying to get the same person, a person that is gonna be running by the president that we have now, God willing. So it don't make sense. Other thing, the president told Donald Trump and his people, his army, his government, those people, that please go to the Pacific coast. Why are you focused on the Caribbean coast? Because the Pacific coast, that's where more business, that's majority of the West business goes to that side. So what are you doing on the Pacific coast, on the Caribbean coast, where it only goes like 5% of the business? Go to the Pacific coast and you can confiscate more business over there. Why are you focused on the Caribbean coast, where only 5% of the business goes? You know what I mean? Go to the Pacific coast, because I do know this. On the Pacific coast, I know, and a lot of people know that. All the Colombians know this, that in the Pacific coast, that's the sea that a lot of people with the bad business, with the white business, they use to transfer, the word to other countries, to Honduras, to Mexico, and to other countries. You know what I mean? But fellas, I just hope, like what this man is saying, don't happen, because I know Colombians and the Colombian president, we don't want a war, but we want to be respect. This man want to treat our people like, we are like aliens, all of that. I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I can't really get mad about that, talking about this topic, but we want to be respect. He's no better than anyone, than anybody. He's just, But fellas, see you soon, guys, on the next video. I don't want to get mad. So this was Carlos, the Colombian guy. And, but before I leave, I forgot about a topic, that I also want to include in this video, because what this president is thinking and doing is can make a lot of Americans who get targeted in Colombia, because now, if he do that, now the army is going to be ready for a war. But the guerrilla groups, which is a lot of people, the people on the business, all of that, it can make a lot of Americans who get targets in Colombia, and which is a lot of millions of Americans, which is our visiting our country. It's going to be really sad, because a lot of innocents going to pay for it. These people don't care. Like, if you hurting them, they will hurt you too. So, who knows how this is going to end, but I hope, this don't get escalate. And thank you, fellas. Thanks for everything, and see you soon, guys, on the next video. This was Carlos, the Colombian guy.